Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to make a very complex topic simple, and we're going to equip you with the knowledge and understanding that may just help out your next lens selection. See, I have been filming with anamorphic lenses for the last 8 months, and I finally feel like I understand enough to show you what I've learned and some things you should consider. What's going on, guys? For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris and I am a filmmaker here in South Mississippi, and today we are discussing anamorphic lenses, things that are relatively new to me because I usually film story videos on normal lenses or cine glass. And recently I've been deep diving into how I can incorporate anamorphic glass into my daily shooting or into the things that I want. In fact, how can I incorporate it into my YouTube videos? Because currently we're filming this on anamorphic glass. So what I want to do is I want to give you a rundown of what anamorphic lenses are if you're a beginner, why people actually use them, and answer a few questions that were submitted to me, such as, can you use these in client videos? How do you incorporate these into your daily life? And what lenses do I actually recommend? Anamorphic lenses can be a crazy kind of topic, but I have the Sirui glass with me here today. I'm gonna be using this as my reference piece of glasses, considering making this a 2-part series covering these glasses, which are perfect for beginners, and the one I'm actually filming on now, which is if you want something that's a little bit more out there. But let's go over what is anamorphic. The most basic definition I can give you of an anamorphic lens is it compresses the image horizontally, capturing a wider field of view than you would get on a traditional spherical lens. So in this instance, my 50mm here is a 50mm anamorphic at a 1.6 times squeeze. That's important. See, what this does is it captures 1.6 times more information than a traditional 50, which means it puts it at about a 31.2mm field of view with the depth of field of a 50mm. So you can get some really interesting shots because, hey, I have a good wide field of view that I'm used to, that I love, but the 35 doesn't give me enough depth. Now you have the best of both worlds with anamorphic, and traditionally, that's why people use them. Now, the 1.6 times ratio is important because that is what defines the lenses that you're using. So you will see a bunch of different ratios depending on what lenses you have. 1.33, 1.5, 1.6, 2x. These lenses that I have here are all 1.6. In fact, this little converter that I have is a 1.25 times converter. It takes these 1.6 lenses and makes them 2x lenses. It's a weird process, but it's really, really unique if you want something that's a bit more versatile. I can get the traditional 1.6 squeeze that I'm used to, but if I want to take it a little further, you can adapt anamorphic glass on anamorphics, and it gets a little wonky, but the images are really, really unique. So what are anamorphics usually known for? A lot of movies that I watch and a lot of movies that I'm interested in that are shot a very specific way, that have an interesting look, are filmed on anamorphic. Anamorphic creates a unique field of view, a unique rendering of the image. In fact, you probably can see here, there is a little bit of distortion. The background is a little different because I have lenses that lean more into that vintagey look and create more distortion. The Sirui glass here, a lot cleaner, like way cleaner than I would ever imagine. And that creates a very unique situation when you're considering what kind of anamorphic glass should I buy. You see, me, I buy glass because of the unique way it alters what I'm filming. So this look is a look that I love. I get something that's way more unique than traditional filming. But that is not necessarily a great thing when filming for clients. If you want to create a widescreen anamorphic look, get the flare, and you don't want to take too much risk, then the lens I'm currently using may not be for you. You may want something that provides a cleaner look. I'll talk more about the Sirui a little bit more in depth, but I want to go over just some of the more general things that you'll find in anamorphic lenses. Something that I really like about anamorphic glass is the flare. That is something you see very, very often associated with anamorphic glass, or people who try to fake it and put filters on there, is the unique flares you get from using anamorphic glass. You see, when I first started doing filmmaking, the flare was the big thing that we tried to get. Like, we were like, yeah, sure, we can put black bars on the top and bottom, but we really just want the anamorphic flare. And people like Polar Pro back in the day kind of sold just a filter kit to just give you the streaky lines on like cars or lights that you had, but it never really gave you the rest of the feel that Anamorphic gives you. So you can cheat the look a little bit, but if you really want to take the risk and take the dive, then the way this glass is shaped and the way it renders stuff, the flares it creates are super unique. As I stated earlier, the wider field of view is something that is also very important. The number of 1.3, 1.5, 1.6, that is your squeeze factor. If you are working with a traditional camera sensor, this is something that puts out 16:9, maybe a 17:9. 1.6 may be a lot that I've noticed. Usually 1.3 to 1.5 I've noticed is a good sweet spot. 1.6 becomes a little much, especially at 2x. You would really want an open gate sensor. So that's something you have to consider also. Is my camera even worth getting anamorphic glass for? A lot of times, yes, 1.6 times glass looks really good on the Sony because that is the only thing that I can film these lenses on. These lenses are all E-mount, so they don't work with my Blackmagic, and sadly, they don't fit on the Ronin 4D because, as you can see, these things are massive, and that is another thing associated with anamorphic glass. Traditionally, they are massive lenses, and we'll get into that because that is what I see as like a con. Real quick, if you want the full cut of this video, probably has about 15 more minutes of just deep diving and discussing anything about these lenses and anamorphics itself, then I invite you to try out my Patreon. Go check it out. It's down in the link below. I offer lots of exclusive content, custom coaching tailored to the individual, as well as group coaching. Like, I love, love, love where the Patreon has been going. And honestly, I would love to see you down there, and it really does help me continue doing stuff like this. Okay, I don't want to waste too much time. Let's get back into the video. Now, there are a couple of drawbacks when it comes to using anamorphic lenses in general. Usually, the size and weight of anamorphic lenses are massive. Like in this case, these are insanely heavy. This is the 100mm. This thing is dense. It's built like a tank. It weighs as much as 2 cars, but there are very specific trade-offs that you get for getting a 1.6 times squeeze factor in a build quality like this. It's going to be heavy. Usually, the cost of the lenses are much, much more. Back when I wanted to get into anamorphic lenses, the cheapest one that you could get that was full frame was about $4,500 a lens. Now, these are on sale for October. They're about $9.99 a lens. Thanks to competition, there is a lot more lens selection. So if you're getting into anamorphics, as a budget filmmaker, I don't think there's ever been a better time to really consider unique styles of lenses. Also, complexity and lack of versatility. There are very, very few anamorphic zooms. So you're going to be working with a prime set for the most part. I love prime lenses. Like, everything I've ever used has always been primes pretty much. I try to get into zoom lenses. They make me feel a little lazy. I love having the problem solve with prime. So that downside is actually a positive for me. And when it comes to versatility, here's the thing. You get the look that it gives you. That is something that you have to deal with when it comes to anamorphic lenses, which is why I like the Sirui lenses, because they give me a very sharp and general look across the board. So let's talk about these lenses. This set that I have here at the table is the Sirui Venus anamorphic full frame set. Full frame set of lenses, 1.6 times squeeze factor. They have a big versatility and a wide set of lenses. I have 4 here currently, and the overall look of these lenses, if I had to give them a profile, would be just clean. The Blazars that I have a very, very, very vintagey look. You have a bunch of distortions and out of focus areas. The Siruis are clean across the board. If you are just getting into anamorphics, if you're kind of timid or scared, or you don't want to alienate your clients with the work that you're doing, but you want that anamorphic look and you want that flare, these are probably the lenses for you. I kid you not. I have been filming with these for the last few weeks, and the results I've been getting are very consistent and very normal. I like that. You know, part of me wants that really out there look, but it comes at a downside. It is specialized. if you're wanting to incorporate anamorphics into your work, if you want to incorporate anamorphics into your client work, the work that you're delivering for others, your interview setups, then these are probably going to be something to consider. Normally, they would be a little bit more expensive than I would like, but with the current sale, if you're watching this in October of 2024, they're $9.99 each, which I can kind of get behind because there's a lot of competitions for anamorphic lenses nowadays, and $9.99 seems to be that sweet spot to get some really good entry-level looks. But like I said, now you have to make that decision. Do you want something that's crazy, artsy, and vintage that you can use for your passion projects to create you a unique look? Or do you want to incorporate it into your work life and create a consistent and clean look? That's really going to be the deciding factor for you. So if you're wanting that really anamorphic look, that's going to be a downside for these. You may not want to consider these if you're wanting to be really artsy, if you're wanting to kind of be edgy with your filmmaking, because these are going to be clean, consistent, and just normal. That is kind of what I've been getting from using these. Reliable and normal. But honestly, that's what makes them great for beginners. That's why I wanted to make a beginner's guide to anamorphic lenses and and understanding them and why you would want to consider them and which lenses you would want to consider as a beginner. Because as somebody who is really just deep diving into it, my lens selection, my camera choices and everything, I've been doing traditional filmmaking and corporate filmmaking for years and years now, but I've been really wanting to experiment. And if you're somebody who's wanting to experiment and you want to immediately incorporate the lenses into your work, I would love to recommend these to you. They have been very consistent, very clean, very good looking set of lenses. If you're a Ronin 4D user, then you might want to consider their Saturn set of lenses. Since these do not fit, honestly, that might just be the way to go across the board because these things are exceptionally heavy. Just pick up a 7200 and that's probably exactly what this feels like. But overall, if you don't want the steep learning curve that comes with anamorphic, if you don't want to constantly consider what's out of focus, how bad or how good does it look, how much flare am I getting in, and you just want that clean look and you're getting into it, the Siruis are probably going to be the way to go. So overall, I really do like that good anamorphic is becoming more and more affordable, and people who are inexperienced in anamorphic, they're getting closer to the look and feel that they want based on their budget, based on a lot of factors now. Because when I was wanting to do anamorphic, when Josh Yo was making Anamorphia, like it was like $4,000, $5,000 to get a lens for a micro 4/3 camera. Like I didn't even have the choice for full frame to get a really good look. But now you got options, and I really do love that. So if you want to see kind of like a part 2 to this, to where I go over my favorite particular styles of anamorphic and we can kind of do a deep dive in a discussion, and it's more of an intermediate guide to anamorphics, then let me know down below. I'd love to make more videos like this and do more deep dives across the board. But with that all being said, that's all I have for you today, guys. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you loved it, consider subscribing because I'm bringing you more content just like this every week. So you guys stay safe, you're loved, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.